Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. In today's video, we'll be going through how Paris Saint Germain won Ligue 1 2024-2025. The season obviously started off with Paris Saint Germain are Mbappé-less. There is no Mbappé at Paris Saint Germain anymore to carry them. Mbappé, I think, scored around 29 goals in Ligue 1 last season. So they were thinking, Mbappé is gone, Marseille have strengthened, Monaco have strengthened. Maybe we'll actually get a so-called competitive race at the top of the Ligue 1 summit. Paris Saint Germain didn't start the season perfectly. I mean, when you look at the scoreline, 4-1, that's a great scoreline. But obviously, we suffered in this game. Obviously, we were missing some starters with Barcola and Dembele coming off the bench. But it wasn't the best because obviously it took to a Dembele coming on. They also scored some disallowed goals in that game. So it was still great, winning 4-1, but we knew we needed some improvement in the performances in the upcoming games. Next game up was a 6-0 victory versus Montpellier. This is when Paris Saint Germain established themselves as we don't need Mbappé. Yes, it was very early on. Yes, a lot of people wanted as soon as possible to start talking shit about Mbappé and that he shouldn't have left us and everything. But this was the start we were looking for. A 6-0 at the Parc des Princes. It was the Bradley Barcola show and João Neves as well. Next up, we have a tough game. Lille away and Paris Saint Germain once again got the job done. We were 3-0 up at one point in this game. It was an incredible performance, especially from the attacking trio in Marco Asensio, Ousmane Dembele, and Bradley Barcola that game. And after these 3 Ligue 1 games, I was like, yeah, I mean, we knew we didn't need Mbappe. We look really great. The signings, Neves look good. Apache look good as well. So in beginning of the season, going into the rest of the season, Ligue 1, we were very comfortable, obviously. Then came in another tough game versus Brest. Paris Saint Germain got the 3-1 at the Parc. Once again, not the most convincing victory. I think we were down 1-0 to a Del Castillo penalty. Then Dembouz and Fabian Ruiz brought us back into the game, and it was a beautiful ending to that game. And then Paris Saint Germain finally dropped some cheeky points. It was a 1-1 draw versus Stade de Reims away. Dembouz had to come out from the bench and rescue us, and we were very poor in that game. It was a heavy rotated squad. We came after that Girona UCL game, I believe, as well. So not the best confidence. And this was how the table was looking, with Paris Saint Germain, Marseille, and Monaco all on 13 points. Paris Saint Germain first place because they had the best goal difference. So after 5 games, you were like, Paris Saint Germain looks still very strong with that Kylian Mbappé, but Marseille and Monaco are right there. They arrived there on points, and a lot of people at this point were like, maybe Paris Saint Germain will have a really tough winning this league. We'll have to wait and see, because Paris Saint Germain next game set to face versus Stade de Rennes and got a 3-1 beautiful victory. And this time, once again, they tried and shined, but it wasn't Asensio, Dembouz, and Barcola. It was Barcola, Dembouz, and Tanguy Lee who started cementing his spot in the starting lineup. Paris Saint Germain came back after the Arsenal defeat, and they had their worst display in that season so far in the league. 1-1 versus Nice. It was an absolute diabolical game from Paris Saint Germain. It was international break right after it. The players just wanted to get over with it, and we got a cheeky draw. It wasn't the worst. Paris Saint Germain came back from the international break with some of a rotated squad and beat Strasbourg 4-2 at the Parc des Princes. Defensively, not the most convincing performance, but scoring 4 goals with a rotated squad was great to see. But what was ahead of us was the big test. Marseille in Le Classique, Paris Saint Germain were set to face. And De Zerbi was talking a lot. The Marseille players were talking a lot. The Marseille fans were talking a lot. And the PSG haters were talking a lot. People actually tuned in for this game thinking that Marseille would surprise Paris Saint Germain. Well, the only people that got surprised were the Marseille Dick Riders, with Paris Saint Germain absolutely humiliating Marseille 3-0 only in 45 minutes in halftime, and we didn't do that much in the second half. We could have killed them off, obviously, with Harit conceding that stupid red card as well on Marquinhos. And Paris Saint Germain had one more game, a 1-0 victory versus Arsenal, with Ousmane Dembele being the only goal scorer in that game. And Paris Saint Germain was sitting at the top of the league, 26 points, and 9 points clear of Marseille after that victory, 6 points clear of Monaco. And this is, when people are like, what? Yeah, even with Mbappé, they're going to farm it again. That's just how great Paris Saint Germain are. A 3-0 victory versus Toulouse was followed up. Really great performance and a really great from João Neves goal in that game. A 4-2 victory versus relegation battling Angers as well took place, with Marco Asensio, Tanguy Lee, and Bradley Barcola showing in that game. And then came the worst out of the worst. the form in the Champions League was at its absolute worst. Paris Saint Germain played versus Nantes at the Parc des Princes and got a 1-1 draw. It was an absolute abysmal, disappointing, disgusting performance from Paris Saint Germain. But this is exactly what PSG needed to reach the heights that they've reached at the end of the season. Because all we know, between the Nantes game and the Auxerre game, an important meeting took place between the manager and the players to put everything back to where it should belong. Luis Enrique was going to stop overthinking his tactics, and the players had to perform. The pressure was on them. Next game up, it wasn't the result that we wanted, but 0-0 versus Auxerre was not the worst, with Auxerre having the second best home form at that point in the league that season, and we performed really well in that game. Clinicality was just the issue. And Paris Saint-Germain were now set to face Lyon and Monaco. So we were coming through not the best period in league, and we're going to face the two toughest team, in my opinion, in the league. And Paris Saint-Germain showed that it was easy with a 3-1 victory over Olympique de Lyonnais, starting off with goals from Ousmane Dembélé. And your boy was at that game celebrating it, because it was an absolute insane performance from Paris Saint-Germain. A few days later, went away to Monaco and got an important 4-2 victory, once again Dembélé being the star in that game, and Paris Saint-Germain made once again Ligue 1 look easy. Paris Saint-Germain was sitting top of the table with 40 points compared to Marseille and Monaco, who were 10 points behind. Paris Saint-Germain had already basically won the league, because when you have a 10-point advantage, you haven't already won the league, but you've basically said to everyone, we've just played 16 games and we're 10 points clear. That just means we're better. Paris Saint-Germain continued their dominance with a 2-1 victory over Saint-Étienne, once again Ousmane Dembélé being the hero, and then a 2-1 victory versus Arsenal, with Bradley Barcola being in the hero of that game. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia debut came up, and Paris Saint-Germain unfortunately drew 1-1 to Stade de Rennes. But this is when Paris Saint-Germain started out the jet and, in my opinion, hit peak form in the season. A 5-2 victory over Brest with a hat-trick from Ousmane Dembélé, following his hat-trick versus Stuttgart in the Champions League. This was when Dembélé was in absolute hot goal-scoring form, and he performed really well in the coming weeks. We had Monaco coming up in the Champions League. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia finally got his first Paris Saint-Germain goal, and it was a beautiful performance. The first half was a bit slow. We got the goal from Vitinha, then they got a goal, but then in the second half, we absolutely destroyed Monaco. It followed up with one of the weirdest games I've ever seen in my life. A 1-0 victory versus Toulouse, where Paris Saint-Germain, for the 90 minutes of football, did not try to play football. We were just trying to not get any injuries, nothing serious, and walk away with the 3 points. And that's exactly what we did, thanks to Fabien Ruiz's goal. Paris Saint-Germain went away to Lyon and got an important 3-2 victory. Ousmane Dembélé and Hakimi Brace got Paris Saint-Germain all 3 points. And now we are beating regularly the best teams in France, the Monacos, the Lyons, Marseille, home and away without any problem. And we just showed we were way too strong. And now came, in my opinion, probably the best performance for Paris Saint-Germain this season. Maybe if we're only accounting the first half, because what Paris Saint-Germain did to Lille in that first half, we haven't seen before. We absolutely destroyed them, being 4-0 up. And this was the game right before the Liverpool Champions League game as well. We just wanted to put fear into Liverpool and raise the confidence level at Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain at this point were sitting 13 points clear at the top of the table, and there was no question about Paris Saint-Germain winning the league. But the next question was, can Paris Saint-Germain go unbeaten in the league? With only 10 games remaining in the league, Paris Saint-Germain could potentially do the unthinkable. A 4-1 victory over Rennes was followed up. It wasn't the best performance, but we got 2 goals at the end, which made the victory look more comfortable. Another victory in La Classique, 3-1 victory with Ousmane Dembélé getting finally his first Le Classique goal. And then there was an international break, and when Paris Saint-Germain came back, we were set to face Saint-Étienne away. Games did not start well off. Saint-Étienne scoring first and performing really well. Within Paris Saint-Germain turned on the Jets and scored a total of 6 goals, the most we've scored in one individual game this season. And what a performance it was from the Paris Saint-Germain players. 1-0 versus Angers was followed up with another 2-1 versus Le Havre and a 1-1 versus Nantes. Paris Saint-Germain were sitting 78 points at the top of the Ligue 1 table, 23 points clear of second place Marseille. But as you can see, 24 victories, 6 draws, and 0 defeats in 30 matches played. Paris Saint-Germain had only 4 games left to end the season completely unbeaten. Paris Saint Germain also recently broke a new record, 39 unbeaten away matches in Ligue 1 this season following that 1-1 draw versus Nantes. And all Paris Saint Germain needed now was 4 more games for this to be one of the best and most historic league campaigns of all time. But unfortunately, Paris Saint Germain couldn't do it. A 3-1 defeat to Nice, it hurt. As someone who has been following Paris Saint Germain this entire season, that defeat probably hurt the most because we couldn't get it back. You lose a game in the Champions League group stage, well, if you win the UCL, that group stage game won't matter. But when you lose a game in the league, you will never be able to go unbeaten again. It hurt. It hurt losing that unbeaten streak. But because we have so much else on the line as well, it didn't hurt as much. Another defeat came up versus Strasbourg in the league. 3-1 defeat with a heavily rotated squad. Another heavy rotated squad, but actually we won 4-1 versus Montpellier. And we ended the season with a 3-1 victory versus Auxerre, finishing with 84 points at the top of the Ligue 1 table. 26 wins, 6 draws, 2 defeats, 92 goals scored, and 35 goals allowed. 57 goal difference. But what a Ligue 1 campaign this has been. Because this has been one of the best and most dominant Ligue 1 campaigns I've seen from Paris Saint Germain. We were at the top of the table from match day 2 to match day 34, with absolutely no one being able to stop us. Yes, Nantes and Stade de Reims and Nice were the only 3 teams in Ligue 1 this season we could not beat over 2 legs. But that didn't matter because we were completely unstoppable. 92 goals, 35 goals allowed, and 84 points in the league. We scored a total of 92 goals from 88.9 XG, which is really great. But we conceded 35 from 31.2 XGA, which means we should do a little bit better defensively, and Donnarumma should do a little bit better in the goalkeeping position. Comparing this season to all previous Paris Saint Germain seasons is basically the best. 2.5 points per game equals 19-20, 17-18, and 15-16 as the best Ligue 1 season when it comes to points. When it comes to goals scored, this was one of the best and most prolific goal-scoring Paris Saint Germain campaigns. When it comes to goals allowed, though, this was one of the seasons where we conceded the most. But obviously, as you can see from 12-13 until now, the attacks we're facing in Ligue 1 is getting better, obviously. And when it comes to defeat, this was the lowest amount of defeats we've had in a season since last season, and 15-16, only 2 defeats. Both 2 seasons where we potentially could have gone unbeaten if everything went correct. We also, as I mentioned, dominated all the best teams in Ligue 1, beating Monaco twice, Lyon twice, Lille twice, Rennes twice, Brest twice, Marseille twice, and Strasbourg once, with Nice being the only top team we didn't manage to beat this season. These are the stat leaders. Dembele as the top goal scorer, Barcola as the second, Gonçalo as the third, Barcola as the top assister, Neves as the second, and Dembele as third. And these are the stat differences from last season. 65% possession last season to 68% this season, an improvement. Shots on target from 5.5 to 8, 4.18 to 2.97. I believe this is how many shots on target we receive. XG went up and XG against went down. So Paris Saint Germain, as Luis Enrique said before the season started, we will get better in every single sector. We're better offensively, we're better defensively, we're better with the ball, we're better without the ball. This Paris Saint Germain team was amazing this season. Here we can quickly take a look at the stat leaders. We already saw the top scorer and the top assister, top goals and assists. You got Dembele, Barcola, and Gonçalo. Very surprising by Gonçalo, but maybe more surprising no one else has taken this spot with how much Gonçalo was out and the lack of minutes he's getting. Full mob rating, Hakimi, Dembele, and Neves. I would say they're probably our top 3 this season in the league. Goals per 90, Dembele 1.09, Gonçalo 0.85, Bradley Barcola 0.57. Expected goals, Dembu 16.16. So these are the players scoring the most, receiving the most chances as well. XG per 90, expected goals, or it's a little about goal scoring here. We're trying to look for something else. Accurate passes per 90, Vitinha obviously the top passer. Paris Saint Germain, Bradley Barcola, big chances created. Doué and Kangili high up as well. Overall chances created, Dembele, Kangili, and Doué. Which means that Bradley Barcola doesn't create that many chances, but the chances he creates, a large likelihood of them are big chances. Accurate long balls per 90, Vitinha 6.6, Marquinhos and Fabian Ruiz. The ball circulation is improving. Expected assists, Ousmane Dembele 7.2, Kangili 6.4, 5.9, which is surprising because Dembele doesn't make he comes last when it comes to assists, but according to the underlying numbers, Dembele should have a little bit more assists this season. having the best XA per 90 as well. XG plus XA per 90, Gonçalo and Dembouz, insane numbers. Successful dribbles per 90, got Duo on 3, Dembouz 2.2, and Nuno 1.7. Would obviously love Brad de Barcola to be there, and I think Khvicha Kvaratskhelia will be there next season as well. Big chances missed, Barcola, Gonçalo, and Dembele. This is something Barcola has to work on. Despite him scoring a lot of goals this season, he has to get better at the goal-scoring sector. Looking at some of the defensive stats, successful tackles per 90, Sene Mayulu, shout out to him, man. Hakimi and Doué. Interceptions per 90, shout out to Pacho, Hakimi, and João Neves. Clearances per 90, shout out to Pacho, Marquinhos, Beraldo. And look at Pacho, blocks per 90, clearances, interceptions per 90, clearances per 90, blocks per 90. I mean, he's a defensive beast that we assigned. Penalties conceded, possession won, final third per 90, clean sheet save percentage. Yeah, it's only Donna competing against Donna. We have fouls committed per 90. Shout out to you, Mayulu. You got that dog in you. But yeah, that's been it for the full Ligue 1 review. It was a really enjoyable Ligue 1 campaign, one of my favorite Ligue 1 campaigns, alongside probably 15, 16, and 18, 19. You know, how we completely dominated the league against the shit teams, against the mid teams, and against the great teams. Luis Enrique, all the players, the squad depth, the nearly going unbeaten. This is definitely a memorable Ligue 1 season, and hopefully next season will be even better. That's been it from boy PSG, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.